Well, many members of the media not going easy on Defense Secretary nominee Pete Hegseth or Republicans after day one of his confirmation hearings. Take a listen.
He is manifestly unqualified for virtually any high-ranking government position, and he demonstrated that frequently today.
Hegseth was well prepared, and it was clear Democrats recognized that, given that there was some clearly concern that he wouldn't be able to handle more than one round of questioning.
What makes you so awesome? Republican senators on the Armed Services Committee did their very best to help out Trump's pick for defense secretary. They did everything but walk over and hug him, the Republicans.
Fox News contributor Joe Concha joins us now. And Joe, did the mainstream media see and hear the same hearing that you and I and Carly and everybody else saw?
It was pre-written, the reactions beforehand, Todd, right? They were going to react that way no matter how Pete Hegseth had performed yesterday, and he performed, I think he crushed it, quite frankly. This was the theater of the absurd, both from Democrats who were questioning Pete and from the media reaction that we saw yesterday and last evening. I mean, at that hearing, the constant interruptions by Democrats, the pious lectures, some senators literally screaming at Pete, but he kept his composure. He was poised. He didn't take the bait because he was confident in himself and steadfast in his mission as the next U.S. Defense Secretary. And that mission is restoring the lethality of our military. As a former soldier, cleaning house at the DOD, getting rid of these people who are only working in their own interests, or they're beholden to the defense contractors, companies, instead of the interests of our fighting men and women. This quote from Pete really stood out to me, Todd, Carly. Quote, "We won World War II with 7 4-star generals. Today we have 44 4-star generals. We don't need more bureaucracy at the top. We need more war fighters empowered at the bottom." Amen. Now, if confirmed, Pete will be the first Secretary of Defense who actually served in an infantry. He'll be the soldier secretary, and he will be confirmed because Senator Joni Ernst said last night that she will support him. She was seen as the biggest hurdle. It's impossible to see where any no votes are going to come from on the Republican side at this point, because what Donald Trump wants, Donald Trump gets. He wants Pete Hegseth as his next Secretary of Defense. That will happen.
Yeah, so obviously the fiery exchanges at times, I would characterize them as inappropriate questions, especially in front of his family and young children. Received all the headlines. There was one funny moment during this confirmation hearing from newly minted Montana Senator Tim Sheehy. Listen to this.
Pete, I'm actually going to ask you questions because I want to hear your answer. How many genders are there? Tough one.
Senator, there are 2 genders.
I know that well. I'm a Sheehy, so I'm on board.
Got the laughs there. Okay, so, you know, another thing that Pete said that I thought was important was that he said, I know what I know, and I also know what I don't know. And oftentimes when you get to a certain level of stature, you start to feel like you know everything. And that's when you have tunnel vision and make decisions without consulting other people. And he did display a lot of humility during this hearing in the face of all of this incoming fire that he was taking. Could the treatment of him backfire on Democrats?
Oh, I think it will. I think if there are any Republicans that may have been a little wobbly on this, they saw Pete Hegseth getting Brett Kavanaugh yesterday in terms of the personal attacks and bringing up all these stories based on anonymous sources, particularly about his time at Fox. All I know is that the people that have gone on the record, people like Will Cain, Rachel Campos Duffy, myself, having been on Fox and Friends Weekend for years on set with Pete, those accusations against him in terms of the way he showed up to work were 100% false. And if anybody really believed it, they would put their name and a face to the quote instead of hiding behind as an anonymous source. So, yeah, it's great to see that his colleagues at Fox have really backed him because they know who they worked with, somebody who was professional, someone who was friendly, great sense of humor, treated everybody with respect, and came in laser focused to every 4-hour weekend show that he had to do.
Echo all of that.
Yeah, the personal stuff does not work. And right, Carly, you've worked with him. Todd, you have as well.
Yeah. So they came after Pete. They also came after Carrie Underwood. Here's Joy Behar on The View attacking the American Idol winner.
She says, I love our country. How do you love your country and support and normalize somebody who was a convicted felon who really wants to destroy the country, in my opinion? I don't understand how you say you love your country at the same time as you normalize this convicted felon.
This, of course, because Carrie Underwood's going to be performing at the inauguration. Does it even matter, though, that the left's coming after her in light of the fact that, oh, I don't know, I feel like the left lost everything on November 5th?
Yeah, the Senate, Republicans kept the House. Donald Trump wins the popular vote in every swing state. The funny thing is that these kinds of shows and hosts scream about protecting democracy, but then demand performers like Carrie Underwood sit down, shut up, only perform for one party, or be ostracized. That doesn't sound very much like democracy to me, Carly, Todd.
No, it doesn't. Joe Concha, thank you.
I'm Steve Doocy.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.